Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio by Brian Leonard. If you watched the videos last week and you remember Brian's outfit, you got a letter this week in the mail. Normally, when I get legal letters in the mail, it's you know from who, but did you get one from you know who or somebody else?
Yeah, cease and desist from Sesame Street. It looked too much like Big Bird, I guess.
Yeah, you did. And your picks laid an egg last week on the video.
If you've noticed, they lowered my chair here because didn't want to be on the same level as the Big Bird, I guess.
You know, go 0-2, that's what happens, so don't let it happen
Did
again.
I go 1-2 last week?
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's got to be the first time.
Yeah, you've been good. You've been good.
What's
The video,
I'm still winning the year to date.
yeah,
right?
the year to date you're winning, but all told, combined, you and I, 20-10 the last 6 weeks here on the video, so they can't complain.
Out of that 10, that's probably 2 of mine and the rest are...
Yeah, right. Sure. All right. Ever since, and it coincided with the week after you knocked me out of the contest, I went on a tear with the videos.
You went on a tear? So after I knocked you out of the contest, then you started winning?
Yeah.
That's nice. That was awful nice of you.
Yeah, I know. All right. So let's get to this one. Green Bay, Seattle, after we busted each other's stones enough. Green Bay, they got the job done against Dallas. It wasn't pretty. Controversial call again with Dallas. They had one go with them the week before and one go against them last week. And I don't know about you, Brian, but when I was watching the games on Sunday, was out with our buddy Chris, and as I saw flag after flag after flag, I said to Chris, I said, we should have knew that this was going to come, that anything that was remotely close, they're going to call this week because they took so much heat last week. Mm-hmm. They always do the extremes, but then you get, again, down to a game-deciding play, and I know the letter of the law of the way that rule was written, they called it correctly, but that rule's got to go.
They just need to change the rule.
It's in, can I say asinine on the air? Yeah. I guess I already did, so that's what it is, But this week, can Green Bay go to Seattle? They've already played Seattle this year, and that's one thing that I'll admit with both games this week, because I'm a situational guy, and revenge is something that I always like to look at. So it throws me a curveball whenever we've got the second meetings for two teams that are not division opponents, and Seattle, lopsided win over Green Bay first week of the season.
When you take a look at this game, it's real interesting because obviously if the quarterback for Green Bay is healthy, Aaron Rodgers, there's no way this line is a 7.5. Right. But you have to take a look at what you have presented. And right now you've got a Seattle team. I make their home field 3.8, 4. Let's round it off to 4. Green Bay hasn't played well on the road. They've been a road underdog 3 times this year and lost every time. They've been much better at home than they have been on the road. So if you're doing your home field value, you've got to do an away team value. And I think Green Bay loses a point because of that, because they're so much better at home than they are away. Mm-hmm. So that makes Seattle 5, basically. And when you've got Seattle against Green Bay, normally maybe Seattle is 1.5 points better, which would be 6.5. And so I would make that line 6.5. Now the line is 7.5. Is that 1 point differential, and it's actually more than a point because it's going over the key number of 7. Is the difference in Aaron Rodgers normally compared to now, is that worth a point? Let's just call it 1.5 points, even 2 points. Basically going there, it's not full 2 points, but crossing over the 7 is a big number. I think it is because Aaron Rodgers, if you watch that game last week, he's at his best when he's rolling out of the pocket. I think he's a better quarterback when he rolls out of the pocket throwing the football, but also he has that running ability. He's not known as being a big scrambler, but he has that ability, and he's a very good athlete. He can pick up those yards. Last week's game, he didn't have that ability, and he had to stay in the pocket. Now, granted, he's going against the Dallas Cowboys defense. When you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys defense, maybe he doesn't have to do that, and obviously they won the game without him doing that. Now you're going up against Seattle's defense. And you also have the situation, Lacy at running back. Lacy at running back has a bad knee. He didn't practice on Thursday. So that's a concern. Normally you'd say they'd be able to rely on the running game. Seattle's very good at stopping the run, and now your best running back isn't going to be 100%. I have serious concerns about Green Bay in this game. The line, yes, it is inflated. It is inflated, and there's a reason why it's a 7.5 right now. because everybody bought it up, and I don't think it's going to go any lower than 7.5 because of the teaser situation. Normally, I'd say you'd want to tease Seattle in this game. But now we're down to the situation where you got 3 games left in the season.
Right.
See, a teaser, you've got to have more than one team to tease. So now what are you going to do? And we'll do another video, and we're going to discuss ways to attack these games this week. But you've got a Seattle team playing at home here. The line is inflated. I do like the Seattle side. I'm not a big fan of laying the 7.5, but if you're going to play a side in this game, I think that's the side I need to play here.
And we'll talk about the running game for a second. Of course, Lacey not at 100%, but even if Lacey is at 100%, Seattle doesn't get beat on the ground. Now, people are pointing out that last week they gave up 132 yards to Carolina, and 3 weeks back they gave up 140 yards to San Francisco. I'll say you are correct. But if you look in the last 7 weeks during this winning streak, there's only 2 teams that did rush for 100 yards against them. That was San Francisco and that was Carolina, and they both have one thing in common. They have running quarterbacks that run by design, not scramble, run by design, will run a read option, and they have plays set for them. And last week, Cam Newton ran the ball 11 times. Aaron Rodgers is not going to run football 11 times if he's 100% healthy. That's not his style of football. So it's a traditional running game. They're not going to be successful against Seattle. And the other part is, you mentioned the Dallas defense. The Dallas defense, we've said it all year, they camouflaged how bad the defense was because they were able to run the football and keep the other teams off the field. Green Bay was able to get their yardage and get their time against the Dallas defense. Green Bay, I feel, is a better team when they don't play a physical defensive team. Green Bay, to me, is a finesse team. When they face the physical teams, the defenses, they don't do as well. And there's nobody more physical in the NFL right now than the Seattle Seahawks. And how Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to move around in the pocket, and if the running game's gone, and they have a lead and they can pin their ears, it's only going to get worse because this is a much better pass rush and defense than they saw last week against Dallas.
Yeah, Seattle doesn't get a lot of sacks, but they do put a lot of pressure, and their defensive backs
are the best.
There's nobody in the league any better. And when you've got, traditionally, when you have a powerful offense against a powerful defense, remember the Super Bowl last year?
Yeah.
These things tend to happen. The defense has the edge here. Seattle doesn't have to spy on the quarterback because he's not going to be running. And I feel really bad for Green Bay because this was a team that could have gone into Seattle with a healthy quarterback, healthy Aaron Rodgers, and the line's probably in the 5.5 range, and they got a very good shot of winning. I don't think they can do that the way he's hobbled right now. Didn't show last week against Dallas. Totally different ball game here with Seattle's defense. And not only do you have the best defense in Seattle, you've got a healthy defense in Seattle. And so it's going to be a rough day for Green Bay. I know a lot of people are going to look at that and they'll say, got to take over a touchdown. I'm not so sure that's the right side here.
Yeah. We'll have the debate about right numbers and right side. I would rather have the wrong number and the right side than the right number and the wrong side. All right, Brian says to take Seattle, lay the points on Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, if you want to get the Prez's NFL playoff game of the year, it goes on Sunday, and he's on a 27-7 run with his NFL best bets on his side plays. He's had a good year with the big plays. Check out the Prez over at wagertalk.com. You'll find that play and all of the other cappers on Sunday with everything that we got. We're going to come back, take a look at another video. We're not going to actually give per se a play, but we're going to tell you how you can attack these games with some other alternative betting.
A little bit better value, I think. In this.
Yep. All right, that's up next. Wagertalk.com.